All right, so it's finally time to start assigning functions to all these components of my MCP panel. And honestly, this is one of the things that makes SimVimX shine way above all the other solutions out there that are used to make home cockpits. And you're gonna see, I mean, you already probably seen it throughout my videos, but when you're trying to do something, to me, this is the most complex instrument that I have made up to now in one sitting. You know, I've added little things here and there to my setup over time, but this is the first time that there are so many buttons, switches, LEDs, displays, and everything in one build. You know, so this is going to be a perfect opportunity to show just how easy it is to program these things. And you don't need to know nothing about programming or scripting or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is program the buttons and switches that are on multiplexer number 1, which is actually number 11. So you need to set yourself up a system, like I said, to make sure that you connect everything in the right places, and then you assign the functions in the right places, or else nothing's going to work, right? So I developed, and I did take some notes before. All right, so for me, this is going to be 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. That's going to be the 16 pins on multiplexer 11, which is multiplexer number 1 for me here. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to the website, and we're going to go over to the configuration tool, and we're going to start a brand new build. So obviously the system doesn't know yet that we have a multiplexer or two multiplexers. So we're going to basically start with that. We're going to put a multiplexer on pin number 11, and we might as well just go ahead and put one on pin number 12, since we're going to need that one too. So, but we're going to go back to 11 to start off the assigning functions on that one. So we're going to go to the aircraft, we're going to go to the 737, and we're going to go to the MCP panel area here, and I'll move this out of the way. So remember, this is just to assign buttons and switches, right? So right now we're not worried about the LEDs or anything like that. So this was going to be 0 and 1. This is number 2. Auto throttle is number 3. The N1 switch is number 4. The speed autopilot switch is number 5. The changeover switch from speed to Mach is number 6. This is going to be 7 and 8. The encoder to change the speed. Then we're going to go over to the VNAV switch up here. That's going to be number 9. Number 10 is going to be the speed intervention switch. And the flight level change is going to be number 11. Then we go to the encoder here for the heading. That's going to be number 12 and 13. The heading select switch is going to be 14. And finally, the LNAV switch is going to be number 15. All right, so that one is done. So now we can go over to number 12. All right, so we're just going to continue down towards the right, but I don't know if you remember that I had mentioned before that this button, one of these buttons, was going to be skipped, and it was going to go directly to the Arduino, because I would need to add another multiplexer just for one button, and I think in this case it's better to do it separately. So I'm going to skip this one here at the bottom, the approach button. So the VOR lock here is going to be number 0, and then we're going to go over to the right. This encoder is going to be 1 and 2. Then we're going to do this altitude hold switch is going to be number 3. And then we can do the altitude intervention. That's number 4. And the vertical speed button is number 5. And what do we got? The encoder for the vertical speed is number 6 and 7. Then we go to the command here. We can do this one on number 8. And then the CWS number 9. Then we'll do command B on 10. CWS for B on number 11. The autopilot disengage switch will be number 12. And then 13 will be the flight director on the co-pilot side. And finally, the encoder for the course here will be number 14 and 15. All right, so that's all of them. So we're done with the multiplexers now. Now we're gonna go and I think what we'll do is right now is we'll assign the output multiplexer and then we'll do the displays. All right. So if you guys remember correctly from my previous videos, hopefully you saw them. If you go to a 7-segment display and you want to assign an output multiplexer, you have to click on the pin little thing here, and then you go on the bottom here and you put add output multiplexer, and now it tells you to click the pin where you want it, and that's going to be on pin number 13 for us. So now when we go to that one, it opens up the pins that are on the output multiplexer. So my displays, I set them up. I don't know if you remember, I told you guys earlier that I ran out of heat shrink tubing, so I was going to skip one on each of the pins so that they wouldn't have the possibility of touching. So this is going to be on 0, this is going to be on 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. All right, and then on number 15, I'm going to put the LED driver for all the LEDs that are on the panel here. All right, so now that we assigned our output multiplexer, now we need to assign where we want to put displays. So we're going to go here on pin 0, and it's going to ask you if you want to assign a new 7-segment display, which of course we do, and we put it there. Now by default, and you're going to have to do this for every single one, by default it automatically assigns a max 7219, but we don't want that because we have some 4-digit and 6-digit TM1637s, right? So what we need to do first is click on it here and change it. So if we go over to our panel here, we can see that the first one is going to be a 4-digit TM1637. So we go back over to the website and we're going to select TM1637 4 digits and click done. All right. So now let's click on another one. Actually, let's go ahead and just start programming each one as we set it up. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up the MCP panel here again, and we're going to use the course on pin 0. So that one is done. So now in order to assign the next one, we need to click on the MUX here because we want to do it on the output multiplexer. So the next one is going to be number 2. We're going to assign a 7-segment display. And once again, if we go back over to our panel, we can see that that's another 4-digit 1637. So we go back to the website and we can click on that. Click on here and click another 4-digit 1637, and we're done. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, we can put the airspeed window here, and then we're done with that one. So next we assign another one on pin number 4, tell it yes, and once again going to our panel here, we can see that that's another 4-digit TM1637. So we can go back to the website again, and we can click here. We're going to click on that one that's on pin number 4. We're going to change it to 1637. Done. And then we can assign the heading on that one. So we're done with that one. So next we're going to go to the one on pin number 6, assign a display, and if we go back to our panel, we can see that that's a 6-digit TM1637. So we can go and change that one from a max 7219 to a 6-digit 1637, and then we can assign the altitude in this one. All right, so now we're going to put one on pin number 8. We go back and select that one, and if we go back over to our panel again, we can see that that's another 6-digit TM1637. So we can go ahead and change that to a 6-digit 1637 and click done. And just remember guys, if you guys don't select the right type of display, you're not going to get functioning data if you get anything at all. You might get it all out of sequence, or you might not get anything at all. So you got to make sure that you select the right type of display here. All right, so now we can go ahead and assign the vertical speed on that one, and we're done with that one. Now we're going to go do the one on number 10, assign a 7-segment display, and going back to our panel, we can see that that's a 4-digit TM1637 on that one. So we'll go back to the website and we'll click on that, select 4-digit, click done, and then we can go ahead and put the course 2 on that one. All right, so we're all done with the TM1637 displays now. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to assign a LED driver for the DM133A that we're going to assign all of our LEDs to. So we can go ahead and click on this, and we're going to put that one an output multiplexer 13, pin number 15. So it's going to ask you, do you want to connect a new LED driver? So you put OK. Okay, so for the LEDs, I'm going to follow a pretty similar path, to the actual assignments. So this is going to be LED 0 on the DM13A. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you can see that I have one more that I'm not going to have room for. So what I did with that one is I wired it directly to the switch. So when the switch is on, the LED will come on. Even the only bad thing about that is that if you ever do, like for example, if you ever want to do this flight director first, but then you want to turn it off, or you want to turn this one on, this one's going to stay on regardless until you flip the switch off. That's the only bad thing. See, like right now I don't have anything programmed yet, but if I turn it on, the LED turns on because it's wired directly to the switch. And I'm going to make a separate video talking about how to do that in case you ever want to do that. So let's just keep that in mind, that we only have room for 15 LEDs. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so if we go back to the web page here, we're going to start assigning those LEDs. So we are already on the LED driver. So if we didn't have this open already, we can just go to LED driver, and usually the first one that you have assigned in numerical order will be the one that shows up. So let's go ahead and put the one for the flight director here on 0. Then we're going to put the one for the auto throttle arm on 2. Then we'll put the N1 LED here. The speed one is going to be number 3. Then we're going to do VNAV on 4. Okay, then we go to flight level change is going to be on number 5. And then heading select on number 6. LNAV number 7. VOR localizer number 8. Approach number 9. Altitude hold number 10. Vertical speed number 11. Command A number 12. And CWS for A on number 13. Command B on number 14. And CWS for B on number 15. So as you can see, we ran out of pins already. So that one LED that I was telling you guys about doesn't get a spot at the table here. So that's okay. I'd rather do what I told you guys rather than do another whole LED driver just for one LED. I also had the option of just running a wire directly to a pin on the Arduino, which is probably what I should have done, but it works the way it is too, so that's okay. All right, so we're pretty much done with all the programming, if you can call it that. So I mean, if you wanted to take a quick look, like if you wanted to see that you have everything in your input multiplexers, and let's say you wanted to check your output multiplexer again, you can click on a 7-segment display on the top and then go to the MUX right here, so you can see what we have assigned here. And like I said, let's just hope I did everything right and I didn't like misplace anything or whatever. So I guess we're going to find out soon enough, because the next step is turning on the simulator and trying it out. All right, guys, well, here we are in the simulator now, and it's the moment of truth. So let's go ahead and obviously one thing I forgot to mention on the part of the last clip is that the last step of doing your configuration is obviously to save your configuration file, which I didn't do on video, but now I did. So let's go ahead and hit reload configuration here. So make sure we got the latest one, and what do you know, our screens are alive. So that's a good thing. And that's one of the things I'll mention it right off the bat here, because although I could have, because I did order the 5-digit MAX 7219s and the 3-digit MAX 7219s. Well, actually, you order the board separately, and then you order the little number separately, and you can order 3, 4, 5. So although I could have put these on there, to have the correct number of digits for the 2 courses and the heading, what I didn't like about them, other than the fact that, like I mentioned before on the previous video of introduction to 7-segment displays, is that I always have problems with these. And these right here, as you saw right now, they just start up and they work right off the bat. Not only that, but the little boards on these are bigger. They're way longer. So it would have taken a lot more room, as you can see right here, for to use these, and it wouldn't have worked out, because the spacing, for example, right here, that button wouldn't have been able to be there. And even on this one right here, it would have interfered a little bit with that one. So that's the reason why I decided not to. Actually, this one would have interfered with both of them right there. So that's why, even though 4 digits here and here are not the correct ones in here, I decided it would be better just for the overall functioning of the system. So there's that. All right, so as you can see, the displays are good, but obviously they're very bright, right? So, and I never liked the fact that you can see the rest of the digits when they're not on. So I said it before, I always like to put little pieces of window tint on them. And right now I'm just gonna stick them in like really quick like this, just so they look better. Later I'll worry about gluing them in the correct positions, right? But that makes them much more legible and not as bright. So I really like that. Okay, I think that looks much better, right? But I'm gonna take myself off the camera here, and then we're gonna go ahead and open up the SimVimX input options so that we can see the buttons that we're pressing. And now I think we don't need this one anymore, so I'll get rid of that one. So all right, let's go ahead and try out some things here. So let's try this one here. So you can see the displays work, the display is changing and the knob is working. So let's go ahead and do the flight director here. So obviously you can see that the flight director in the simulator turned on and the light came on, just like it did over here. But you'll notice right off the bat that it is extremely bright. And that's one of the things. I used a pretty high resistor. I think I used a 2.2 kilo ohms to try to bring down the brightness of the LEDs, because I knew that they were bright ones. But nevertheless, it's still like that. So the only thing I didn't notice, oh yeah, there it is. I was expecting to see something down here, but it was up here, the function of that switch. All right, so let's go ahead and do the auto throttle. And as you can see, both the switch and the light work. These right here, I'm not going to be able to probably activate them right now, but I'm just going to press them just to make sure that it does show that I press that one. And then the speed one, it's also good. Then I'll do VNAV and it's okay. And a lot of these, obviously they're not turning on right now because we don't have a VNAV or a flight plan, loaded in. So let's do level change, and that one does come on, and level change actually turns on the N1 also. But my god, these things are bright. So obviously I have to change the resistor. So now let's do the heading one, and we can see that it works over here too, and the light came on. Let's do LNAV, which is not going to come on right now, but we can see that the switch did work. VOR, that one did come on, and the light is matching with the simulator, so that's good. And then we'll do approach, which is not going to work, but we can see that the switch worked. All right, altitude, good, that one is okay, the light and the switch. And then vertical speed, it's not going to work right now, but at least you saw that it turned on momentarily, so it's working. And command is not going to work right now, so, but we can see that the switch worked. Oops. And let's do the second one. That's working as well. Now let's do CWS, and then the other CWS, and we can do the autopilot disengage. It works. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna put right here though, so I will figure that out and put something there. All right, so now the only thing I did notice, we can't really test the vertical speed set. Well, actually we could, look. So it's working fine even in the proper direction, so that's good. But of course this one right here has a problem, I noticed. So basically when I do that, you can see that the light turns on the way I told you it would, because it's linked directly to the switch. It's not getting the data ref. But you can also saw that this incremented by 1 digit. So every time I turn it on and turn it off, so it looks like I might have a little bit of a short or something on there. And then the encoder, if I do the encoder, you can see that the switch in the simulator is moving up and down, and the numbers on the course are not even changing. So I definitely have something going on there that I have to track down later. But well, Wow, these LEDs are very bright. Alright, so that's better. Okay, well, I guess I just couldn't leave well enough alone, so I decided to try to figure out what the problem was with the encoder over here and the flight director switch. So what it ended up being was that I had put one of the leads for the encoder on the place where this one should have been, and then I put this one on the last one where the encoder should have been. So that was, I'm not sure because I have the LED connected to that switch and it's connected to 5 volts. That's why it was acting weird. When I was turning the encoder, it was activating the flight director switch like on and off. So anyways, I solved that problem. And then I also realized that I wanted to get a correct resistor in there so that I can have those LEDs at a more manageable brightness, or more bearable, I should say. I actually had to end up going to a 270 kilo ohm resistor. So I had a 2.2 kilo ohm, and that's why they were so bright. It was like pretty much like having nothing at all. And as I mentioned before, sometimes these LEDs are way brighter than others. So it just so happens that the ones that are embedded in these switches also are very bright. And I think I also if I show you this, you can see now that the encoder is working fine, and then you can see that the flight director switch is working fine and is not causing the cores to increment anymore. And I think I never tested the heading and the airspeed one. So as I said before, a lot of these are backwards. You can see that, if I go down, they're going up. But, I'll mention it real quick. It's not a big deal. So what you need to do is you go to the input options here under the SimVimX menu right here. And then you get this. So basically the last one that you move is going to be the one that shows up. And all you need to do is put inversion and then save it again. And then when it comes back again, of course the status window is going to open. So then when you go back, you see that now it goes down and now it goes up. And I'll do the same. I think it was for the speed. Yeah, the speed is backwards as well. So I'll go ahead and do that one. So just click inversion, save and reconnect, close that window again. And now if I increase it, and one of the things that I noticed for the speed is that I think that you had, when you go to 4 digits like that, on the actual MCP panel, the real one, it looks like this one has 5 digits, but I've only ever used 4 and it works fine. It looks the same here, even though it has extra spaces here. I've never seen them used. I'm not sure. Hopefully I don't need them someday and I don't know, but 4 seems to be good enough, so that's why I use that. But anyways, as you can see now, the LEDs are much better. I solved the problem. So pretty much the only thing I need to do is actually fly an actual flight with a flight plan, um, programmed into the FMC, and then I'll see if all the buttons and switches are working properly. So one more thing I wanted to mention real quick is, every time I'm explaining like how to do these things, I'm assuming that you're building like an entire home cockpit, right, with a lot of different components to it. So let's say you wanted to build an MCP panel, for example, or any other type of panel to just be a standalone unit. Like you had no intention of building anything else, and all you wanted to do was build this. There is another way where you can make it an all-in-one solution where all you would need to connect to it is the USB cable for the Mega, and also the power supply to provide the power for the LEDs and the 7-segment displays. So if that were the case, what you could do is, instead of putting a data distribution hub like the one I have over here on the right side, all you would do is put one of those mini Megas, which are probably a lot smaller than these right here. I don't have one right now, so I don't know exactly how big they are, but you could put that one in here and just connect all the data bus wires and the address bus wires directly to the Arduino. And of course, you're going to also connect the 3 wires for the pins that are coming out of the input multiplexers and the output multiplexers, and you would just connect them directly to the Arduino also. So that way you can make just a USB plug and play kind of device. So I just wanted to kind of mention that, because I know that normally we're building like bigger setups, not just one instrument or one panel. All right, so that's pretty much the whole process. I know I didn't teach you step by step, while I was doing it, because I mean it took me, like I said, probably about 18 to 24 hours probably to do the whole thing. And I didn't want to put you guys through all that. I mean, I think is the most important thing is to see the progress and to explain what I was doing in each part as you saw the increase in wiring going on. And then the programming, oh my, I mean, you saw how easy that was. That's like, that was all in one take, so I'm pretty sure if you try to do this with some other system, which I don't like to talk bad about other things, but I've seen a few videos where just to do something so simple like the 3 landing gear lights and a switch, it takes forever to do that. And with this, it's just point and click and you're done, as long as all your wiring is correct, of course, right? But if you guys have any specific questions about any of the parts of this video, any of the specific things that maybe you didn't understand, like I said, I do have separate videos on switches, on encoders, on displays, on everything, but if you have any other specific questions, you feel free to ask me here in the comments, or you can send me an email, which is the same as my YouTube channel at gmail.com. So all right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it'll inspire you guys to build something more complicated the way I got inspired when I started doing the 7-segment display videos. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.